integration team at Labster. Thanks you all for coming. Today we're going to be going through the process of a Canvas integration with Labster. I'll be giving you a demonstration of how to upload common cartridge files into your Canvas course shells, as well as how to create those common cartridge files through our faculty resource page. I have a quick agenda for us to go through. Just a quick heads up on this. If you do have any faculty members that weren't able to make it today or will be joining late, this webinar will be recorded and will be sent out the next day or two. So no worries if they couldn't make it. As long as they've registered, they will receive that recording. So we'll jump right into the agenda. So first I'll be reviewing what to expect when your Labster order form is signed. I'll give you an overview of the integration process. I'll then give you an overview of our Labster support system, how and when to contact Labster support. I'll walk you through Labster best practices, so how to get the most out of your Labster simulations and how students will have the best experience possible. Then we'll do a demonstration of the common cartridge upload in Canvas, and we'll do a quick question and answer session at the very end. So if you do have any questions, feel free to throw some questions in the questions box. I'll go ahead and answer all of those at the end of the presentation. So feel free to just throw questions in that box throughout the presentation if you do have any questions, and we'll get to them at the very end. Great. So what to expect once your order form is signed and received by the Labster implementation team. So once an order form is signed and received by an implementation manager, that implementation manager will reach out to you and all instructors, admins, and bookstore contacts that are involved in the Labster setup. Instructions will then be sent to your Canvas admin in order to add the Labster LTI tool to your instance of Canvas. Once this is confirmed and once a implementation manager has a confirmation from your LMS admin that the Labster LTI has been completed, instructors will then be sent a status email, which will basically say that we've confirmed the integration of the LTI of Labster in your Canvas instance, and that instructors are now ready to upload these common cartridge files into their Canvas instance. I'll go ahead and show you exactly how you do that. You'll receive access to our faculty resource page, which is exactly where you'll go ahead and create those common cartridge files with simulations. And then once you're able to launch a simulation in your Canvas course shell, it's opening in a new tab, loading to 100%, then your access is confirmed and you and your students are then ready to access your Labster content. I wanted to do a quick review of Labster support. So our Labster support team can be contacted directly at help.labster.com. So faculty and students should contact our Labster support team if they do run into any technical difficulties like freezing or an error message. If you are having any issues with integration itself before students start accessing, feel free to contact your implementation manager directly and they can help you through any kinks in the process. And we'll get that going for you. But if you do have a live course that students are accessing with some technical difficulties, feel free to reach out to our support team directly to get the answers that you need for those difficulties. I'm going to do a quick walkthrough of the Labster support page. So there's quite a few different resources that we have for you available on this page. One being our Labster frequently asked questions. These are just frequently asked questions that we've seen throughout our time at Labster. So it's a great place to send students that have any preliminary questions when they're getting started. It's a great place to send first-time Labster users if they do have any questions. There's quite a few helpful articles on this page. Students can also go ahead and filter their questions by a specific topic in this search bar up here. We also do have a teacher and a student resource page. On the teacher resource page, there's a lot of really great things. One being our Teaching with Labster resource. This contains any white papers, webinars that we've held, any testimonials that we've done, research that we've done as well. So if you're looking for anything like that, it can be found directly on this page. We also have really helpful articles around the Labster dashboard, which every instructor does have access to. It'll show you how to set up your Labster dashboard, how to access, how to toggle different settings to see certain things when students are beginning to play their Labster simulations, and you'll be able to see their attempts on here as well. It'll give you a deeper dive of the data opposed to your Canvas gradebook, which student grades will push over to once they've completed their simulations to 100% completion. It's a great place to cross-check what you're seeing in the Canvas gradebook and get a little bit of a deeper dive of the data. So feel free to take a look at this article. It's super helpful, and it'll give you a quick intro to how to use that dashboard. There's a lot of really great articles on this page as well, so feel free to poke around on this page if you're a new instructor using Labster. I'm sure there's a lot of really great things that can help you out in getting started. On our student resource page, we have one resource that I always recommend instructors share with their students, especially if most of the students are first-time Labster users. And this is the Labster 101 Getting Started with Labster video. It's essentially a 3 to 5 minute video. It'll walk students through exactly how to access their Labster simulations, what a simulation looks like, how to click around a simulation, and I'll just really set expectations for the rest of the semester in terms of what those Labster simulations will look like. It can possibly clear up quite a few preliminary questions if students are first-time Labster users. So it's always a great resource that I recommend either linking in a course page or sharing with students somehow so they can take a look at this before they start accessing their Labster simulations. If students do have any issues, like I mentioned, best thing to do is contact our support team. So if they're seeing anything like freezing, any error messages, best thing to do is just come down here on our help page and click Contact Labster Support. What they'll have to do is just signify whether you're a student or a faculty member. If I'm a student, I will click here. Our bot will pop up and ask me some preliminary questions. So my name, my email, brief description of my issue. This information is super important. So if our bot doesn't get any of this information, it can sometimes read this as a spam request. So just make sure that you are letting our bot know, hey, I'm a human, this is my problem, this is how to contact me. And it'll push that ticket directly to our Labster support team. So just make sure you're giving that bot all of the information it needs so it can get you over to our support team and get your issue resolved as soon as possible. Now, there are some Labster best practices that are really helpful in avoiding any of those technical difficulties that I mentioned. A few of them are assuring that your device meets our Labster minimum system requirements. These are listed on our website on our support page. So if you want more info, you can come directly to this page and it'll all be listed down here. Just a heads up on this, Labster simulations do not launch on iPads, tablets, or smartphones. So if you do have a student that's trying to access a simulation on one of those devices, they probably will get an error message. Having the student make sure that they have a strong Wi-Fi connection is super important. Using Labster on one of our recommended browsers, which is either Mozilla Firefox or Google Chrome. Making sure that Labster is the only tab open in the browser and that we're not switching in between tabs when things are loading. That can sometimes cause some freezing. And if any errors do occur, if the students do experience any freezing or slow loads of the lab, best thing to do that'll probably remedy 95% of issues is to just go ahead and clear the cache on the browser. If the issues do persist, have them contact our support team directly. They work in tandem with our product team and can escalate anything as needed. Now I wanted to do a quick walkthrough of the common cartridge upload on Canvas. Before I do that, I wanted to walk through exactly how you will be accessing those common cartridges. So like I mentioned earlier, once we have that confirmation from your Canvas admin that the LTI has been added to your instance of Canvas, you will go ahead and receive access to our Labster faculty resource page. So a lot of really great resources on this page as well, along with being able to create your common cartridge. One thing being, you can take a look at our entire catalog of simulations. So if you're still not sure which labs you want to use in your course shell just yet, and you wanted to play around with a few before deciding for sure, you can come in here, you can take a look, you can search labs by title if you want, or just look through our entire course package. Sorry, my computer is being a little slow today. I'm gonna refresh my page. Here we go. You can take a look at certain simulations. So if I wanted to take a look at the acids and bases simulation, I can click here. I get a few things on the page for each simulation. So I get a video walkthrough of the simulation, what exactly that process is. I can download a PDF of all of the questions and answers that students will need to answer to progress through the lab itself. So throughout the simulation, they'll be asked a series of multiple choice questions. They'll have to answer these correctly eventually to make their way through the lab and complete the lab itself. So you can download that PDF here if you're an instructor that just wants to have that on hand and be able to get that access over to students, or if a student has a question on a part of the lab, you'll have that as a quick resource to cross-reference. You can play the simulation here, so if you want to play it all the way through yourself, that's an option. And you can read the theory pages as well, the theory behind each lab itself. You also will see a description of the lab, the learning objectives that are covered in the lab, and the techniques that are also covered in the lab as well. And there are some screenshots of each simulation on its own respective page. But getting back to creating those common cartridges, where you'll go to create that cartridge itself is this upload to LMS tab here. What you'll do is you'll see all of the guides for each LMS here. So you'll access the Canvas guide. This will give you step-by-step instructions on how to add this common cartridge. But to create it, you'll just click Add Simulations to your LMS. And our whole complete course package will pop up here. So you can go ahead and just check off the simulations that you'd like to add to the package. So if I'm coming in here and I want bacterial cell structure, bacterial isolation, and basic electricity, I'll click here. I'll click download. I'll just select my LMS, in this case Canvas. It'll create that common cartridge for me, and then I'll just click download the file. That'll download right to my browser, and I'll have it as a zip file in my downloads. What'll then happen is you're going to upload this common cartridge to your Canvas course shell. Just maximize this here. So to do that, you'll go ahead and head right to the course shell in Canvas where you'll be uploading the simulations. Once there, you'll go to the settings option. You'll then choose import course content on the right-hand side. Under content type, you're going to select common cartridge. You'll choose a file, and that will be that common cartridge you've just downloaded from the faculty resource page. Then you have two options here. You can select all content or select specific content. So previously we were sending over cartridges with all of the lab simulations. So if you have a cartridge that's on the larger side and you only want to select specific content out of that cartridge, you can go ahead and select specific content. But if you've customized a smaller cartridge on our faculty resource page, you can select all content and that'll all just automatically upload. But if I select specific content, there are a couple more steps that I want to take in order to assure that these upload. So I'll select specific content. I'll click import. It'll queue up. Once it's completely loaded, I'll click select content. I'll drop down the assignments, drop down simulations, and just check off the simulations that I want to add to the course shell. I'll click select content. That'll load up again. Once it's loaded, all of the assignments will go ahead and populate in the assignments tab. All I'll have to do next is I'll publish these simulations. so students can see. And then students will just go ahead and click on these simulations and they'll launch in a new tab for you directly from the Canvas course shell. And that's how you and students can access all of the simulations in your course shell. All right, let's move on to some questions. I'll go ahead and take a look at the question box. Oh, I have some people saying that they are having a hard time hearing me. Are people able to hear me now? Someone just wants to write in the course. And okay, gotcha. I'm getting some yeses. All right, let me see if I have any questions here. I have someone that's having an issue that's being asked for a license code. I would contact your implementation manager directly to be able to get a new license code for the second course shell if that's what's needed. With the question around freezing, if you do have any students that are experiencing any freezing at all, please contact our Labster support team directly. I did walk through those Labster best practices. That's the best way to avoid running into anything like freezing. Making sure that you have that Wi-Fi connection that's strong, making sure that you're not switching between any tabs when accessing Labster simulations, making sure that your device meets the Labster minimum system requirements. Like I said, if anything does persist, please contact our support team directly. Someone asked, how do I know who my implementation manager is? They'll go ahead and reach out to you with an introduction as soon as we receive the sign order form from your institution. So they should be reaching out shortly if they have not already. I have a question. Are there any webinars regarding best practices in running biology laboratories for bio majors? I don't know if we have anything specific to bio majors, but as soon as we come out with more webinars, we do have our marketing team send out communication with what content we're going to be covering soon. Joanna, if you haven't heard anything yet, I would contact your sales representative who you worked with during the time that you sold that signed the contract. They can get you in touch with your implementation manager. If you're looking for any info around best practices, you can speak directly with your implementation manager, depending on how you're using the Labster content in your course. Any other questions that I can answer, go ahead and throw them right in the questions box. As of right now, we don't offer weekend support. We are in the process of bulking up our support team and extending our hours. Now we are available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as more need arises, we will be expanding our support team. So expect more support availability in the near future. If you're unsure who your implementation manager is, you can go ahead and contact your sales representative and they can get you in touch with them. Someone asked if a student gets stuck on a simulation question, is there a way to allow them to bypass and move forward? The answer is not throughout Labster, but if they do contact you with a question, you as the instructor will have access to all of the questions and answers through the faculty resource page, so you can download that PDF and help them out if you did need to help them bypass the question. Someone asked, is the cartridge system different than we used this summer? If you did use this past summer, we may have sent you a common cartridge with all of the simulations available in our package. You can still go ahead and use that. This is just an easier way to go ahead and upload customized packages for Labster simulations. So if you don't want to go ahead and sift through the entire package that we sent initially, you can go ahead and go to this page and just download a customized common cartridge file that you can upload directly to the course shell. Someone asked what specific changes have been made to improve Labster this fall. We're always continuing to make our simulations better and faster. So just continue to use those Labster best practices. The great thing about our new faculty resource page, which is actually a change that just happened, I believe last week or the week before. So this is a really great change to go ahead and help you guys upload your content faster in a more customizable way. Any other questions that I could answer? You can still, someone asked, typically we upload access to simulations through the modules of Canvas. Is that way of access still possible? Yes, it's still the same way that you were accessing before. It's just a way to go ahead and customize exactly which labs that you'd like to upload to a specific course shell. You can go ahead to piggyback off that question. You go ahead and move simulations once they've uploaded into the assignments tab. You can move them into whichever location in your Canvas course shell that you need. Someone asks if them and their students need to access each simulation individually. They're all going to be accessed directly through the course shell in Canvas. They will all have their own individual link that students or faculty can click on to access the simulation itself. I don't know any specifics regarding the gram stain, if there's anything specific improved to it at the moment. But if you do run into any issues with the gram stain lab, feel free to contact our support team and they can help you out. Someone asked if the dashboard can be accessed through any simulation. The answer is yes. There's a little square in the top left-hand corner of each simulation where you can click on, and it'll bring you to a little toolbar where you can click the dashboard button and you can access your dashboard directly through there. There are no current changes to the dashboard as of this past semester. So if you did use this in the summer, the way you access is going to be exactly the same. Any other questions? Go ahead and pop them directly in the question box. I'm happy to answer. Someone asked, where can I access the directions on how to use the cartridge? You can go directly to our website on our help page, help.labster.com. We do have an integration resources page. And this is exactly where you can find all of the guides to go ahead and upload your common cartridge to your Canvas page. It'll be right here, step 2, add simulations to your Canvas course. And that's where you can go ahead and find that. Thanks, Cheryl. I'm glad it was helpful. Any other questions I can answer for anyone? I'll give it just a minute or two left. I'm getting some thank yous in the chat box. Thank you guys for coming. Appreciate it. And if you did join late, we will be sending out a recording as well. So if there's anything you think you missed, you will receive a recording of this webinar as well. Miriam, if you are experiencing any issues with license codes, I would just go ahead and contact your implementation manager directly. They would have been the person that sent you the first license code. It may just be that they have to create a second license code for you for the second course shell. Thanks, Leslie, for the feedback. I'll definitely double check on what's going on with the audio issue. We will be sending over a recording if there's anything you missed, but I'll just make sure that we take care of any audio issues that are happening. The implementation team will be holding webinars throughout the next month. If you do have any specific questions around best practices for teaching, our marketing team will be reaching out with any upcoming webinars. I don't know off the top of my head if there's anything around teaching with teaching with Labster specifically, but if there is, they'll go ahead and contact you with anything upcoming. I don't believe there is a webinar around best practices before next Monday. But we will have webinars around implementation similar to this throughout the week. There's an implementation series on our webinars page on our website that you can take a look at. Someone asked if there's a way to change points possible in your Canvas gradebook. The answer is yes. You'll just have to go to the simulation itself in your assignments tab. There's a little drop down button. You'll be able to click edit, and there is a points possible option that you can go ahead and change around if you need to. Someone asks if you can change the points for specific questions or just overall. The answer is just per simulation, not per specific question. The point allocation is located under the settings for each simulation. I don't know if I'm able to show you now because I don't have access to our sandbox as of right this second. But what you can do is just go next to the simulation name in Canvas. There's a little drop down and you can click edit. And that's the page where you'll be able to reallocate points for specific simulations themselves. Someone asked if you're able to go ahead and change which questions in the simulations get graded. The answer is no, it's just going to be points per simulation altogether. You can't weight the questions or anything like that. Leslie, I don't have everyone's contact information myself, but I'll go ahead and have our marketing team send out the recording of this webinar. If you do have any further questions that you need, like a training call or anything like that for, you can go ahead and contact your implementation manager, who would be the person who set up your course and sent you your course info, and they can send you a screenshot of that setting as well if you need that. We have a helpful hint from someone. They graded their simulations by percentage versus points since it seemed the number of questions varied between simulation. That's a really great tip. You're able to do that through Canvas. I believe the simulations will push over as a percentage out of 100. So you should be able to see that on your grade book if you didn't want to wait per points per simulation. So they will be pushed over as a percentage grade. Any other questions I can answer? I'll give it a couple more minutes. If anyone has anything they want to throw in the question box before we are good to go. Someone asked if there's a direct phone number for customer service. All of our Labster support is done directly through our website, right on the help page, so you can contact our Labster support team directly through there. I'll just give it a minute or two more if there's any other questions. All right. There's one more. Thanks for the feedback, Leslie. If there are any um, best practice webinars in the future, I'm sure our marketing team will reach out, but I will certainly communicate that feedback to them. Okay, great. There's no more questions. I'll wrap up for today. Like I mentioned, we will be sending out a recording of this in the next day or so, so expect that in your email. I'm getting please stay safe and wear a mask. Definitely will do, and hope the same for the rest of you. So thanks so much, you guys. I really appreciate you attending this webinar today. I hope it was helpful, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.